Now let us welcome Subbarao Prabhu with three loud Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Subbarao Prabhu is like the Yudhishthira of our satsang. Elder brother of everybody. So now we are going to discuss a very, very favorite verse of Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada used to quote this verse many times. Na dhanam na janam na sundarim kavitam va jagadish kamaye mama janmani janmanishware bhavatad bhaktir ahoita kitvai. So let us hear from Subbarao Prabhu and get inspired to follow this in our life. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Purnima. Hare Krishna. Can you hear me? So we'll do it verse number 4. So when Prabhuji said we should all be doing these verses, the first thought came to me is, Prabhu, one of my friends used to tell me, whenever we speak, whether our intelligence is revealed or not, our ignorance is for sure revealed. So, so today you are going to put up with my ignorance. Okay? Thank you for that. So, Siksastakam verses, fourth verse. So when Prabhuji said we have to do the Siksastakam verses, so I'm still doing my Bhagavad Gita, I'm still scanning through my Bhagavatam, and Prabhuji said we should do a verse of Siksastakam. Now Siksastakam, then I said, my daughter, I called her, please search me these verses, the original verses, where are they located? She said like, okay, they are in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya Leela, and inside the Antya Leela it's on the chapter number 20. That's the last chapter, third section, last chapter. Then these few verses are there. Clearly, I'm very unqualified to speak anything on those things. On top of it, Giriraj Prabhuji, Shyam Prabhuji, Praveen Prabhuji, Mahesh Prabhuji, of all the 8 people, I think I'm the least qualified person to speak on anything here. But I'll try. So when I started meditating on what Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is all about, okay? So most of you must have done SSR session, right? Most of you must have done SSR session. This one session, the Prabhuji talks about who is God. So in that session, he puts a small, nice triangle. Giriraj Prabhuji talked about it. In that triangle, you have Bhakta, Bhakti, and Bhagavantudu. We have 3 pieces of the puzzle. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the combination of those 3 pieces, right? He is the Bhagavan in the mode of Bhakta and showing us Bhakti in Siksastakam. Right? Now, trying to explain a verse out of what he said is beyond my capacity or anybody's capacity. Of all those things, I think Prabhuji gave me the smallest verse or the easiest verse, right? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu passed his nights tasting the meaning of Siksastakam prayers in company of Swarup Damodar Goswami and Ramananda. So Prabhuji, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spent so many nights in this is in Antya Leela, which is in the last phase of his life. Giriraj Prabhuji said, or Shyam Prabhuji said, these are the things he said in ecstasy. So at that point of time, for him, the all 3 of those things are in culmination. The Bhakta, Bhakti and Bhagavan Bhava. In that, he said these verses. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has never written anything. He has never written anything. He spoke so many things, and out of which few 8 verses have been picked as the Siksastakam. This is the Siksastakam, right? So in fact, when this Antya Leela portion has come, he has even stopped going around. In the Madhya Leela is where majority of his lectures are that he was going around. So these verses came at the end of his highest knowledge verses, basically. These are the verses that, see, at that point of time, he's come with a mission. Right? So he's the Bhagavan himself, he's the God himself, has come in the mode of a Bhakta to give you the Siksha. Give us the Siksha, right? So every verse at that point is very important. So to understand his mood, like 2 days back, Radhanath Maharaj explained, I don't know if anybody have listened to his session 2 days ago, there was a session. In the session he explained the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Very, very simple example he gave. So, and all the time we see like a small kindergarten teacher teaching people ABCDs. Along with the student, the teacher also holds his hand and writes A, B, C, D. It's not that the teacher does not know. For a next guy, next first class grader who is sitting and making the teacher write those things, might think even teacher is writing it for the first time, teacher does not know. But the mode is that the teacher is trying to teach. So that's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mode is basically. He is come as a devotee to teach what devotion is. The God has come as a devotee to teach what devotion is. So from where else can you learn devotion? From where else can you learn the ultimate devotion? From the God himself in the mode of devotion. So with that, we saw, he has given us these 8 instructions. We have seen these instructions already. People have sang them all the 8 couple of times. So let's sing this in 4th version. Na dhanam na janam na sundaram kavitam va jagadisha isha kameya mama janmani janmanishwara bhakti rahe. Very simple, right? Na dhanam na janam. Very simple to understand, right? Can anybody explain what the meaning na dhanam na? It's na dhanam na janam na dhanam na janam, right? Right? You clearly understand that there's a difference between language here, right? I know I'm poor in Hindi, but yeah, right? Na dhanam na janam. Is it very easy or very difficult to understand?
Very easy.
Then what's the difficult part of it?
No.
Accepting it. Accepting it is the most difficult part of it. How many of us are willing to say na dhanam na janam? Na dhanam na janam. Is it very easy to say na dhanam? But forget about na janam. What is na dhanam means? We say without saying like, I don't want money. I don't want janam. What is janam? What is janam in your opinion? Followers. And we say like, I don't want followers. How many of them can close their Facebook accounts today? So saying I don't want followers. Every day we want to count our Twitter account, Facebook accounts to see the followers. We see the whole social media is about followers. Right? That is where it's killing our central ego. That is where it is satisfying our central ego for us not letting to say na janam. Before we say na janam, you are already having a Facebook account. See, how can we understand these things and how can we get into this mode in this Kali Yuga? That's where we need his guidance, the Siksastakam and the God's guidance there basically. Na janam na dhanam na janam na sundarim kavitam va. I don't want dhanam, I don't want janam, I don't want sundarim, I don't want beauty. I don't want to go after beauty. See, Sundarim means beautiful woman. It's not just beautiful woman. Today beauty is men. Even if you go to a beauty parlor, there are more men today than women. So basically, beauty is not about women, basically. So, beauty has taken over everything. Beauty has taken over everything, basically. Today, people more than want to become good, they want to be good looking. The definition, the choice is between good and good looking. They want good looking. In a survey in America, when they surveyed college going students, would you like to be a PhD holder or a beautiful person? Majority of them said beautiful person, not PhD holders. Nobody wants PhDs. You see what I'm saying? Every American girl's dream is they grow with Barbie doll. So that's what they want. See, even the whole Western society, the choice is between good and being good. It's always being good. So that's what has brought up what you call milk powder into the market. The majority of women want to be looking good rather than want to be good. That's where the whole thing has come up, because you would see a lot of people making such kind of choices. Postponing a lot of life events for the sake of not wanting to be not good, right? So in that case, in that situation, how do we conquer these things? How do we conquer these things? It's not easy. If you look at those three words, Dhanam, Janam, Sundari, is there a single television ad that does not talk about these three things? There's no ad. Every ad that we see is about save 10 rupees in a Vim powder, or you buy this vehicle, there are few girls waiting on the road, or you use this cream to look so good, right?
Not even a bike, just a deodorant.
Deodorant. Yeah, the whole tsunami will go, but the deodorant won't.
Yes.
See, the entire materialistic world, entire capitalism is explained in those three words. And that's the society we live in. And we have to say no to it. If we have to say no to it, if you want to progress in spiritual life, as simple as that. How easy is it or how difficult is it? It's your choice. How easy it is or how difficult it is. How easy you want it to be or how difficult you want it to be is your choice. That's it. There's nothing more than that. Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam var. Even the greatest literature I do not want. O Lord of the universe, I do not desire material wealth, materialistic followers, a beautiful wife or fugitive activities described in flowery language. All I want is life after life is unmotivated devotional service to you. So how do we come from the first line of the verse to the last line of the verse in real life? That's the challenge for each one of us. That's all. Then the rest is taken care. The rest is Krishna takes care. Right, Prabhu? So the entire Bhagavad Gita is explained in those three words. In the first three words. If we can get rid of Dhanam, if we can get rid of the Janam, get rid of the Dhanam, if we can get rid of the taste for Dhanam, the taste for Janam, the taste for Sundariyam, the taste for flowery language in the Vedas. How do we get rid of? that? That is only possible with Sankirtana, Nama Sankirtana, Harinama Sankirtana. So as Prabhuji said, it's inversely proportional. One you start leaving, then the other you start loving. Both of them can't be balanced. We are not saying leave money, but leave the taste for money. Not dhanam, leave the taste for dhanam. Simple, small things, attachment for that. I'll give you another small example. This again I heard in one of our lectures, again non-ISKCON lectures basically. Simple example he gave me that day, one Prabhu, I was asking him, attachment. What is attachment and how do you? He gave me one simple example. He said, majority of times in corporate life, you go to hotels, you see you have all the toilet paper there, like soaps. Most people, on the way out, they grab those soaps and put them in their bag. The justification, we already paid for it. That's attachment. That's taste for dhanam. That is the taste for dhanam. That is the attachment. You see what I'm saying? It's the simple things that without we knowing, we do on daily basis. How do we get rid of it? That happens only when you start developing taste for Harinama Sankirtana. Again, it does not happen overnight. It goes hand in hand. Unless you start, you can't develop taste. Unless you start developing taste, you don't start. We always wait for the day when I will start developing the taste and then I will do my 16 rounds. Once you start, unless you start, you don't develop taste. A lot of people I spoke to, after I finishing this small target at work, I will start my rounds. After I finishing this small activity, I'll start the rounds. In all honesty, with so much of virus going on, we might never have that chance. Not starting, forget finish. You might not have chance to finish what you are doing. Then you can think of starting. You see what I'm saying? So you have to do this hand in hand. Majority of the times you have to do with blind faith that once you start, you'll start developing faith. developing the taste. And then once you start developing the taste, you'll never stop there. Spiritual journey is not easy. So this Siksastakam is to get you into that groove. You have to follow principle word by word. So we have to leave the taste. Taste for dhanam, taste for janam. The taste for janam is very, 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 very difficult one. Probably taste for sundarim goes off after nails, but the janam thing does not go very easily. If you are speaking for it in 2-3 friends circle with an expectation of a praise, with an expectation of an appreciation to what you are speaking, you are already in the mode of wanting the janam, wanting the appreciation. It's not easy to get this out. It's not easy to get this out. This happens even in devotees. Very lot of times we speak, we tell something with only one thought in our mind, with some appreciation. Why that appreciation? Why that appreciation? That is what is feeding our ego. That is what is feeding our ego. In Bhagavad Gita, it's explained, right? 13th chapter, 6th and 7th sloka, where they talk about the Kshetra Jnanam. So you have your soul covered with 3 subtle body, and then the material body. The Jnana Indriya, Panchendriyas and the Karma Indriyas, and you have to kill each one of them, each one of them layer by layer, and get to what the soul wants. This is what the soul is crying to your mind. Na dhanam, na janam. This is not what I want. I want life after life, the devotional service to God, but the mind is not listening, the ego is not listening. You see what I'm saying? This is what our actual soul wants. It does not want janam, it does not want dhanam. The soul knows the janam, the dhanam will remain in this world. What comes with it is just the subtle body. The subtle body is ego. All these things are just satisfying the ego and not the soul. The soul is crying at the mind, but the mind is not listening. You see what I'm saying? How do you tame this mind? Step by step you have to go on to this. Let again one more word meaning of this sloka. Not riches, no followers, not even beautiful women, not even the fruitive activities described in flowery languages. O Lord of the universe, I desire my birth. I desire in my birth after birth, onto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Let there be devotional service with no motives unto you. Okay? So to practice this, it has to go in 3 stages. So the one that is after all the Sundarin things are generally in the Tamo Guna. So you have to cross these things stage by stage. In stage 1 or the phase 1 of this practice, you have to let one of these things go. The desire for the beauty, the desire after the pleasure, the desire of the sensory pleasure things, and that's the kama part of it has to go. And then the desire for material acquisition, the wealth, honor, power, and so on. So what happens is, once you start that, it is the acquisition is a progressive thing, and what does it do? It drives you into a bigger goal. So once you get the dhana part, how it works is, once you get the small part, then it gets to the next part. Today the stock market went up a little bit, then tomorrow your goal is the next bit. That's what is the dhana part is all about. Today you got your EMI is over, now where is the next investment? So you see what I'm saying? That is how the mind works. So as long as you're in that mind, you're still in that rajo aspect of the triguna. Then the virtuous. Then these are the most difficult one. As I said, the jhana part is the most difficult one. So this is where it happens. The more virtuous character you are, the more it kills you into that pool. There will be more followers because you are a good guy. See, there are 2 things here. Wanting to have followers is the Facebook thing, and that kind of thing is the starting level of thought process. But after a point, you actually became a devotee. You are actually doing a lot of things good. Even at that stage, now the followers are because you are a good man, because you are a great man, you are a bigger man. At that stage, if you are stuck, you are still stuck here. If you're stuck in that stage, you're still stuck here. You see what I'm saying? That is still in the Sattva Guna. Because you're in the Sattva Guna, you have lot more followers. But even that is not what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying. Even that I do not want. Is not that what I'm following. That's not what I want as my followers. Like that, when you get on to the next stage, then you conquer the Kama, Artha, Dharma of the life. Then you get into the moksha stage, and from there you have to get into the bhakti stage. And this can happen only with the Nama Sankirtana. One begins to taste sorry. Okay? So one begins to taste the ideal life of pure devotion in love of God. This taste appears in the form of attachment to hearing and chanting of Nama Sankirtana, a special taste for post-liberated life. So when you cross this Rajo, Tamo, Sattva Gunam, you can easily get into a liberated state, but staying in that liberated state is not sufficient, but you have to get onto the bhakti state. Until then, you do not get into a relationship with God. So once you get into the bhakti steps, you see, there are 3 stages. The first stage is getting rid of what you don't want. Then the second stage is coming into the bhakti stage. Then once you get onto the bhakti stage, then that's where you have to get into the stage 3, where you have to get into the prema stage, the prema with the Lord, the love relationship with the God, basically. That is where you can feel the Vrindavan, and you can feel the Vraja, the Tattva in you. To get to that stage, you have to start from where? Where we stand is what each one of us should examine, and then we should progress. We should try to progress into the next step. And the only way to get to that place is Harinama Sankirtana. And there is no other way, That we have seen already many number of times through many preachings, right? So those are the 3 things I'm talking about it. And then another nice definition I came across the whole process. We always talk about how humans are different from animals. Humans are different from animals not merely because they can reason, but because by properly exercising their reasoning, they can truly love by learning to love God. If you do only reasoning part and leave it there, probably you're a better animal or a lower mankind, basically. But with that cannot translate to the love and loving the God, which means you have wasted our lifetime of this opportunity of being a human being. Okay, so knowledge leads to determinant and moksha, but prema, love leads to the post-liberated life. We already talked a little bit about it. So, to conclude, only when material desires are checked by spiritual intelligence is steady sadhana possible. So, what does that mean? That is what actually takes away the taste of dhana or kama or anything, that is by spiritual intelligence. Without that, by materialistically, we cannot get out of materialistic world. Whatever materialistic principle you follow, you cannot get out of materialistic world. The sadhana floods material desires such that they no longer have any possibility of fructifying, and thus one gradually develops taste for sadhana. That's type of mistake. At this stage, as this stage intensifies, it turns into spiritual attachment for the object of one's devotion. You have to get to that stage only by step, and that's with Nama Sankirtana. That's all I have. Thank you so much. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.
This particular verse is more close to those people who may renounce Radha, right? Nagaram, Nagaram, Nasundari. It is easy, but what about the Dharastas? How to have a threshold where you don't have to have this Adharam, Prajaram, Nasundari? How to have this threshold?
Definitely, Grihastha could not say, I don't want to have no Sundari, that's a problem. So, you see, the Antya Leela is written at a very higher consciousness mind, okay? So that's where, in that context, this whole thing is said. At this entry stage, we have to, as I said, I'm not saying you should say Nadhanam, but you should get away from that taste for Dhana. The urge for that, even making more money. And ultimately, at the end of it, if it is feeding your ego, it is not good for spiritual life. Can you say, I want to earn more money, that's not feeding my spirit, my ego, then there's something wrong in the statement, which is it's anti-humility statement. You're not, it's again like an egoistic statement, basically, pretending false humility, basically. So practically, how do you say, I don't want money? And I don't know if you strongly pray for it. Strongly pray for it and Harinam Sankirtan. But in the whole process, you have to be yourself, truthful to it. You can't have false humility, as Praveen Prabhuji said. That will lead into more complications. In the sense, you cannot live double life. You cannot live double life. Outside materialistic life, I'm this. Inside spiritual life, I'm this. As I enter YVSK, I change. It doesn't happen. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't happen. So they both have to go hand in hand with only one goal. They both have to go on hand in hand. That is, the goal is to earn the love of Krishna. The goal is to earn the love of Krishna, right? That's the only one goal. So probably I should conclude with a small story on this. You know, the big elephants, you have seen big elephants near temples. They're tied with a small rope. They're tied with a small rope, right? The small chains. Really, for the strength of that elephant, what is that rope? But why does it not do it?
Trained, engaged.
Pardon? Habituated. That's how it's been trained. When the elephant is very small, that rope is strong. Further, that rope is strong. Well, at that stage, it does all the halagulla trying to pull it and get out and it fails. So what happens is, as it grows, it still thinks the rope is still strong. Probably at the early stage, you have to start training this. Turn off that tsunami ad inside your mind. Yeah, exactly. You see what I'm saying? As I said, those are the three fundamental things that whole capitalistic world is run. If early years kids understand that, then the chasing, that rat race, running after money, satisfying soul with money is gone. The attempt to satisfy soul with money is gone. That's the training that should happen at a very early stage. Probably you and me are struggling and discussing this because we are not trained. You see what I'm saying? I don't know if I answered your question, but so as Prabhuji said, we will just once again say this sloka and I conclude. Nadhanam rachanam na sundari khankama jinisha kameya mama janmani shware bhagavad bhakti hekati tvai. Hare Krishna. That's the last piece of it.
Last bucket donation.
The whole exercise is for that only.
Let us thank Subbarao Prabhuji loud.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.